The Young and the Uneasy next week marks the start of the February sweeps, and among our 5 predictions is the spiral of Faith Newman, Olivia Allen Lind. Additionally, on the CBS soap opera, Chelsea Newman, played by Melissa Claire Egan, becomes more and more irritated until she hits her breaking point. Check out what lies ahead. 2 women lured by Jason Thompson's character, Billy Abbott, as we enter the sweeps on Gly and R. He has some challenges ahead of him, but he will receive good news in the mail. Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, is constantly being poked by Victoria, Amelia Heil. However, Victor, Eric Braden, becomes active. Victor undoubtedly detests the notion of Victoria and Billy Boyd reconciling on Young and the Restless. When Vicky reflects on her history with her ex-husband, he will advise her to change her course. Lily, meanwhile, appears prepared to fight if necessary. Keep an eye out for additional tension on Gly and R. According to Young and the Restless spoilers, Faith Newman is growing more and more furious with her grandmother and parents. Faith has flashbacks regarding Cassie's death, and they urge her to quit drinking. However, Faith has had enough, and her mother's plot with Adam Newman, Mark Grossman, only makes it worse. Faith Newman will drink more, not less, according to Young and the Restless spoilers. We have heard rumors that Faith was saved by an unexpected person, possibly Adam. Watch a ton of Faith Newman's adolescent anguish in the coming days. Additionally, during sweeps, we witnessed Faith intoxicated and experiencing a severe crisis. According to Vi and R teasers, Brittany Sarpy's character Elena Dawson continues to carry a flame for Bryton James' character Devin Hamilton. He and Elena are going to kiss in future moments. This could be a fantasy scene though, because Devin is also itching to kiss Amanda Sinclair, Michelle Morgan. Elena should be in a state of distress during the February sweeps on Young and the Restless. She is currently thinking about her ex while guiding Nate Hastings, Sean Dominic. Additionally, it appears that Devin has moved on from Elena. Devin could soon be in the center of a love triangle on Gly and R. Judith Chapman plays the cunning Gloria Bardwell, who is back in Genoa City and living with her youngest son. She appears to be staying for the Young and the Restless sweeps. See how Gloria quickly tries to patch things up with Lauren Fenmore, played by Tracy E. Bregman. Wouldn't it be amazing to watch Lauren's master manipulator glow, working with Sally Spectra, Courtney Hope? With Sally in sweeps, there will be a lot more Young and the Restless action in the future. Perhaps Keevan's mother can help the redhead get out of her current predicament. Chelsea is pushed to the limit, which is exactly what Adam planned, according to Vi and R's predictions for the February sweeps. He wants to upset his fiancée, so he invites Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, to counsel her. He plots now that he knows it could be psychological. According to teasers for Young and the Restless, the crippled woman may make progress during sweeps. However, her fiancé may regret pushing her this far when it happens. On the CBS soap opera, watch for action with Villy and more involving Faith Newman, a troubled girl. The Young and the Restless never lack spectacular drama during sweeps month, and this time the most vulnerable hearts in Genoa City are about to plunge into emotional anarchy. The youngest daughter of Nick and Sharon, Faith Newman, is the center of attention and is expected to play a major role in a plot that may surpass the most turbulent periods in her parents' histories. The kind, sensible young lady that fans have grown up with might be going through her worst period yet, and her breakdown could cause problems for several families. Chelsea Lawson, meanwhile, is caught in the crossfire of loss, rage and guilt when her own son, Connor, joins Faith's downward spiral. This arc isn't your typical teen drama. The Young and the Restless fall sweeps may be characterized by this intricate emotional web of suffering, secrets, and frantic attempts at control. Faith Newman appeared composed, mature, and prepared to forge her own path when she returned from college earlier this year. She was the level-headed daughter who had learned from her parents' turbulent emotional and romantic relationships. Beneath the quiet, however, Faith has been finding it difficult to adjust to her new adult existence. There has been a lot of pressure to live up to the Newman name. Faith has started to feel suffocated by Nick's protective shadow, Sharon's demands, and the continual reminder that she is the good one in contrast to her siblings' chaos. Sleepless evenings, missed buddy calls, and an increasing sensation of loneliness are the subtle beginnings. Although Sharon observes, she dismisses it as college adjustment blues. As usual, Nick believes that money or a trip will solve all of his problems. However, Faith's internal conflict is more profound. She has been concealing a string of panic episodes brought on by her failure-related worry. The self-assured young woman who fought her way through a near-fatal accident and previously confronted bullies now trembles in private. Things take a bad turn when she begins confiding in the wrong person. Adam and Chelsea's troublesome kid, Connor Newman, has also been tense lately. He has finally returned to Genoa City, following months of therapy and boarding school adjustments. However, it has been difficult for him to reunite with his parents. The youngster is confused and resentful as a result of Chelsea's guilt-driven parenting and Adam's erratic engagement. One afternoon, Connor and Faith cross paths at Crimson Lights. At first glance, it seems innocent. Two children from complex households reuniting over a common frustration. They have known one another all of their lives, and that familiarity is consoling. Comfort, however, soon turns into codependency. Faith sees a person who can relate to chaos. Connor finds a listener who does not pass judgment. They soon find themselves talking late into the night about everything, including their families, their anxieties, and their mutual aggravation of being the kids who always have to forgive the adults. Connor doesn't pass judgment when Faith confesses that she has been drinking by herself to reduce her anxiety. Instead, he joins her. And that marks the start of a downhill trajectory for which neither of them is prepared. Since she has always been her family's emotional gauge, Sharon Rosales can see right away that Faith is having problems. Her once talented daughter now appears worn out, preoccupied, and aloof. Faith starts missing shifts at Crimson Lights. Her phone remains unanswered, and her grades start to decline. In the hopes that they may get through it together, Sharon confides in Nick. Nick, however, dismisses it. He says, "She's just going through a phase." Sharon, she's strong. You brought her up to be Sharon, however, is more knowledgeable. She understands the expression in her daughter's eyes because she has experienced bereavement, mania, and sadness. When Sharon goes to Faith's room one evening, she discovers an empty wine bottle in a drawer. Her stomach sinks. The following morning, her daughter snaps at her when she confronts Faith. "Just one glass. Mom, I'm not you. I'm not going to crumble." Sharon is cut like a dagger by the words. However, Faith's disobedience is more desperate than rebellious. Chelsea is going to learn about her downward spiral and her reliance on Connor as her sole means of escape in the most terrible way possible. Chelsea has been putting a lot of effort into rebuilding her life. She has finally achieved emotional balance, her design firm is doing well, and she and Adam get along well as co-parents. But when she learns about Connor's covert association with Faith, that serenity is shattered. Chelsea initially believes it to be innocuous, until she observes alterations in her son's conduct. His school counselor calls to say that he has missed lessons, and he is distant and moody. Chelsea gets a call one afternoon from a worried friend who witnessed Faith and Connor, both obviously intoxicated, leaving society. As she drives directly to Sharon's house, her panic transforms into rage. Chelsea doesn't waste any time when Sharon opens the door. She yells, "Are you aware of what's happening with our children? Connor is being pulled down with Faith." Sharon is in disbelief. "It's unfair, Chelsea. Both of them are having trouble." With a shaky voice, Chelsea yells, "No, Sharon. It's your daughter who gets my son engaged by smuggling alcohol into clubs. I refuse to allow her to ruin him." The conflict has been building for years as two women with troubled pasts see their kids make the same choices. Nick and Adam are dragged into the conflagration as their quarrel blows up. The old conflicts have suddenly returned, with Nick standing up for his daughter, Adam protecting his son, and Sharon trapped in the between. Faith and Connor's disobedience grows more intense as the adult-child conflict increases. Together, they start driving erratically through Genoa City's back roads as they slip out, following the same risky route that almost claimed Faith's life. After yet another parental outburst, Faith is overcome with emotion and takes the wheel one evening. Connor sits next to her and tells her to relax. Her hands, however, are trembling. She is inebriated, upset, and crying. Before colliding with a ditch, The car veers off the road and barely avoids another car. Faith suffers minor injuries and a concussion, but both teenagers make it out alive. The sight of their daughter hooked up to monitors breaks Sharon and Nick's hearts when they get to the hospital. Chelsea, on the other hand, is indignant beyond measure, both at Faith and at herself for failing to stop Connor sooner. Chelsea yells at Sharon outside the emergency room, "I told you." This is the result of allowing your daughter to spiral out of control. But Sharon shoots back, worn out and distraught. "Chelsea, where were you? You were too preoccupied with preserving your own reputation to notice your son's disintegration." A brief physical altercation breaks out between them before Nick intervenes. "Enough. This is not what we're doing here." However, the harm has already been done. The mother's conflict has become very personal. Adam surprises everyone in the aftermath of the accident by taking on a role that no one anticipated. Guilt-ridden, he goes to Faith's hospital room. He whispers, "Faith, I know you don't want to see me. However, I must inform you that you are not to blame for this. Furthermore, it isn't Connor's. We own it. The grown-ups. We let you two down. You sound like Mom," mutters Faith, half awake. Adam laughs quietly, but his tone is dejected. Perhaps that's not such a negative thing. Adam later informs Chelsea that he is placing Connor in a youth rehabilitation facility because he needs assistance processing everything, not because he is a horrible kid. "Pointing fingers won't solve this," he says. "We must first take care of ourselves." It's one of Adam's most self-aware moments in a long time, and it could be the start of his redemption story. When Faith awakens, her parents are there, their features marked with love and concern. She is deeply affected by the seriousness of what she has done. With tears in her eyes, she murmurs, "I could have killed him. I could have killed us both." Sharon grasps her hand. "Honey, you made a mistake. However, you may recover from this. You can always do it." Faith uses her shame as motivation to get better. She consents to therapy and counseling, and even talks about the anxiousness that initially made her drink. However, her recovery comes at a price. The previously close relationship between the Lawsons and the Newmans is irreparably broken. Chelsea starts to realize that her rage was actually a cover for something more serious: fear. She once lost control of herself because she was afraid of losing Connor. She goes to see Sharon to offer an olive branch in one of the most poignant situations in the sweeps. With a shaky voice, she confesses, "I was wrong to blame Faith. The thought that my son is flawed in ways I cannot repair was too much for me to handle." Sharon nods, tired but sympathetic. "Chelsea, we all break. The challenge is to figure out how to rebuild without acting as though the flaws don't exist." Only two mothers who have been to the edge and back can comprehend the delicate, sorrowful truths that the two ladies share. Faith starts volunteering at the mental health facility, where Sharon used to work before the end of Sweeps Month. It's a subtly potent homage to her mother's legacy, and a reminder that Faith's narrative is one of rebirth rather than destruction. She and Connor remain friends, but with new restrictions.